Welcome to Center Heist Productions. It is July 27th, 2024. Please hit the likes and subscribe down below in your right-hand corner. And once again, this is again another, people are giving me reasons to have to do some tapes. Once again, we keep seeing these particular Habs podcasters, and thank God they're not running the Montreal Canadiens because we'd be in so much trouble. So please hit the likes and subscribes where you hear the facts. And again, we will counter garbage gossip news, um, which is exactly what this episode's about. So let's talk about it. Since these particular sites want to promote certain things so much. And again, I'm so glad that it's Kent Hughes and Jeff Gordon running the team, because if some of these clowns that are promoting this that have channels, unfortunately, the Habs would be in dire straits if these people were running the team. It's just wickedly outrageous. There's no common sense whatsoever. Okay, so this big stupid idea. First, before I get into this topic, I'm going to go into the news of Harvey Pinard. As we all know, he had an injury in that a AHL get together, the veterans, and had a severe injury of breaking his leg. And everybody's also these channels mentioning this to a lot of other channels. We're all talking about it, but let's be realistic. This is not that crushing of a blow to the Habs. It's a crushing blow to Harvey Pinard. If he wanted a chance to redeem himself, however, as I said, I don't think this is about Harvey Pinard being able to redeem his situation, because I think he's just, and I've said it very continually, people are making him sound like he was some type of bright star for the Habs. I mean, I love his energy. I like his penalty kill. He does well in that department. He's got a good work ethic. That's not my knock. Like the player. He's just not on that roster. We got too small of a team as it is, and he just gets knocked around. I honestly, in my opinion, again, everybody wanted to run wild because he had that first season. He did so well, and that was a situation of the Habs were so banged up, they were able to toss him on the first line with Caulfield and Suzuki. And sure, you should be able to have uh, a, your numbers should go up. There should be an effect. So, but it was evident he couldn't stay there on under realistic terms of a continual thing. That was just a fluke. Things like that do happen. He capitalized. I think teams didn't know enough about him at the time, but as time went on, I'm sorry. It's really a situation of, let's be honest, his size was going to catch up to him. It was a fluke. He was not going to be able to match those numbers. And unfortunately, I do not think it's that big of a blow for the Montreal Canadiens, because I honestly think if his trajectory was going way down, and then unfortunately, that's when these size issues do come across, and there is too much talent waiting in the wings to come up. And within these next 2 years, it's going to happen to several players in the lower bottom six. It's going to happen. There's better players in our system coming up than these guys. So to me, Harvey Pinard, it would have been a case of, you probably would have had to put him on waivers. Maybe somebody picks him up because he might be an all right fourth liner on a team that's got a fair amount of size. But I honestly think he's a perfect professional AHLer. That's my thought. So I think whether he would have got through waivers, which maybe he wouldn't have, but if he did, he would have been a perfect guy to keep as a veteran type player for the Laval Rocket. So to me, people are whining like he's some type of superstar. I'm sorry, I like Harvey Pinard very much. Rafael Harvey Pinard, that is. I like him very much as an individual. I like his work ethic. However, I'm a realist, and I do not believe He is, unfortunately, some guys just don't have the luck of having that size, and this is where the size does kick in. And unfortunately, I think this is also going to be a situation for Sean Farrell. Now, Sean Farrell might have more offensive upside than Pinard, but I still think he's going to run into the exact issue because he had quite a few injuries with Laval last year. So, with that being said, sorry guys, you're making a bigger deal out of the Harvey Pinard, Rafael Harvey Pinard injury. And, it looks like if he were to come back, it would be, November, December from gathering the length of time it'll take to heal. I think one of the kids is going to capitalize when they're brought into that position. We've got, well, like I say, this is do or die for Heineman. He'll be waiting in the wings. Owen Beck, um, and don't rule out Florian Jacki, and of course Kapanen, and possibly Tuck. Those certain individuals are going to be waiting in the wings, and also the the player that was just Brule or whatever his name is. Those are going to be the guys that I believe will be waiting in the wings, and that could be injected into the fourth line in his place. And I don't think they'll relinquish. Once they're in that position, I don't think it'll be relinquished back to Harvey Pinard, whether he gets thrown back as an extra, because of course they won't want to lose him as on waivers. That's a possibility, and they give him they alternate players and give him a shot. I just don't think it's going to pan out for Harvey, and it's a shame. If he had size to him, it might be a different story. He'd be a good fourth line player. That's where his talent level truly is. Let's be honest. There's too much depth in Montreal now. It's coming. I mean, we don't have it in the top six yet, but we do have third liners that are better than Harvey's level. Sorry. So that's the case of that. And I do think those kids are going to take advantage of it. And I don't think Harvey's going to, he really needed that training camp to try to battle for it. This was do or die for him as well. And I think unfortunately, sometimes the cards fall in the wrong place, and just part of life. You got to bounce back. But I think he's a great professional AHLer. He would make out to be. And like again, maybe a team in the NHL if he does go on waivers at some point, unless the Habs decide to just put him in a package and trade him, which would be the wise thing to do if they can pull that off. If they don't want to lose them on waivers, or if you lose them on waivers and see if a team wants to take I don't think it's that detrimental that it'll hurt the Habs to any degree in that department. So now let's get into the dumb rumors that of course, certain channels just want to promote. They hear a line, and of course, Patrick Laine has come out of a player assistance program, and of course, we get the situation where reporters won't go wildfire. um, and they go wildfire with stories, and tends to be always the case. Somebody wants a story, and then of course we get these particular sites that particular channels in the podcast business that just want, all they can do is promote gossip. So that's their gig. I really got no tolerance for it. So that's why I usually tend to counter the garbage. When I hear garbage, I'm going to counter. So, so they're promoting, oh, Montreal should, they hear a reporter say, well, Montreal's got a good chance of basically um, grabbing Patrick Laine because teams can speak to him. Well, are you out of your caught picking minds? We went down the road of Pierre-Luc Dubois, which would have been 2.0 Jonathan Drouin. And we've seen what happened there to the team to LA who got him. Thank goodness we didn't pull the trigger. And again, these particular individuals were pumping it up. Per usual. That's what gossipers do. They've got nothing better to do. Clickbait and feed you BS. Well, I'll counter that because I don't believe in I don't like gossip, and I don't like BS. And so I try to educate Habs fans as best as I can. And we do. Thank God we have a few other channels like I say, Junkie, uh, Marinero. He has sometimes has moments where he's swayed, but overall he's a lot better than those channels. So we have channels like that at least, and of course, Chrissy Nyland's always phenomenal. But other than that, you know, um, it's sad. It's sad when you got nothing better to do. I don't know what type of. There's got to be something, I don't know, that's in the movement of in a character that likes to fill people up with BS. There's got to be. There's no credibility or integrity in these individuals, and I feel bad because some of these sites have co-hosts and different hosts that are on their channels that have to suffer being labeled because they're on that channel, and they're usually not as bad of a culprit, but they're part of the channel. And unfortunately, you go along with it, they have to suffer the reputation of the guy on their channel promoting it. So for me, I don't. I warn you, for being Habs fans, to really do your homework. Because anybody with any amount that uses any type of wisdom or wants truth, if you don't, if you like listening to, watching clickbait or a bunch of nonsense that never really is the actual situation, but that's how they draw you in. If you like that, then all the power to you. You're a different breed than me. I'd rather see, okay, this is the matching of your title, to what you're discussing, and it to actually be factual. So when I seen the threat of these guys, in case there is, you pray to God, and I do think that Hughes and Gordon are much smarter than these dummies. Thank God they're running the team. But anytime I see people pushing and trying to influence a movement, I'm going to counter, because this is 3.0. Pierre-Luc Dubois would have been 2.0 Drouin. Patrick Laine is 3.0. We don't need any part of that. We've had the nightmarish experience of situations where we've experimented with so-called people that didn't work out elsewhere, that were ish- personality issues. And I'm sorry, you cannot say no more. He wanted out of Winnipeg. Um, he wants out of Columbus now. I don't want somebody who's always wanting out the heat's on because you underperform. Sorry. Um, He seems like a really nice guy. This is not about attacks on players. It's about, hey, this is the product and this is what you bring to the ice. And this is the attitude you bring. You can't change it. It gets out to the public. People know what you're about. And when the heat's on, you can't handle it. If you can't handle the heat in Winnipeg and you can't handle the heat in Columbus, you sure as hell ain't going to handle the heat in Montreal in a top Canadian site, original six format. You're going to have massive problems. So let the other teams that want to take a risk on them go for it. But when I hear Wardell and making it very clear, he wants to unload the contract as well. I mean, and there's no sharing it. So that would absolutely, anybody with common sense, that would absolutely be outrageous for us to do. Um, like, really? Do you 8.7 million? This guy is not worth 8.7 million dollars a year. And yes, it's down to his next two seasons. Now, unless you did something extravagant like you could unload Josh Anderson and somehow make up the difference in what's left over of Lonnie's contract, maybe it's if possible, you say, okay, well then you take Anderson and you take um, Gallagher, and we'll give you a first round or second round pick to go with it to make up or two second round picks, something of that nature. Then I could see it. I don't like the culture, though, and the attitude that Lonnie brings. Because Gallagher is a good team guy. That's one thing you can say about Gallagher. And I don't think Gallagher had that bad of a season last year. He's not going to be his Gallagher of the youth, but at least he works. Anderson, that's a totally different story, right? I'm sorry. For me, Josh Anderson should not, I wouldn't even play him compared to guys that outwork him as the season goes. Personally, I wouldn't give him anything more than the fourth line because he doesn't deserve it after what he's shown last year. He deserves to be on the fourth line unless somebody beats him out, work ethic wise. And I think there's guys waiting in the wings that probably could. I'm sorry to say that Josh Anderson, sorry, other than he can fly down the ice, he misses his hits continually, doesn't know how to throw an actual hit. Just when he does, it's an accident. When he hits a body, it's totally an accidental because he doesn't know how to throw the hit. He does not know how to utilize his advantages. His north-south speed could be such an advantage. His physicality could be an advantage if he knew how to use them. And his work ethic, there's the biggest problem. So for that that's why I say for me, Josh Anderson, if he's on I wouldn't even start him because I'd wait to see how this training camp goes. I think there's guys waiting in the wings that they might be young, but I think the Owen Becks, the Kapanens, and the Tucks, and even Heineman, who knows if he wakes up and finally takes advantage of his opportunity. I think these guys easily could be a very serious threat and might have a better, and even Florian Jacki uh, could very easily have the work ethic to outbeat Josh Anderson. But however, Josh is a veteran, so they're probably gonna put him in the lineup, as we know. But if you could unload that, yeah, I mean Wardell. To me, I got no use for Wardell as a GM. He's pathetic and he's unrealistic in his when he makes trade offers. His guy is not worth it. That's why he's going. He's not going to get the value he wants. And yes, you could get him on a cheaper, but you'd have to do real well in this. You do not take the contract. 8.7 is far too much for Patrick Laine. His cultural problem, his work ethic, and his attitude. Yeah, I think you would be really taking you would be taking in a risk of messing with the culture that's in Montreal, and I don't think it's worth it by any chance. Now, again, the only way I'd go near that, and I don't want any part of it because he's going to fail in Montreal. I don't care what anyone says. He will not handle the pressure in Montreal. It's a big no, 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 no. Tired of the gossip, tired of the promoters of it. But I'll just keep countering when I see dumb things. And I just got to commend Hughes and Gordon because they're not stupid. And thank God you're not. These people aren't running the team because it's just ridiculous. So, the nonsense that is being promoted. And again, what this one particular channel, I'm sure after they get a little wind of this episode, will come out and deny they were promoting it, like they denied they were promoting. What was it? They were promoting the Meshar trade for McGorty, that package deal, which was totally false coming from, the rumor came from Slovakia. And then that was one of the channels that promoted it. And then they come out in like 2 or 3 episodes later. Oh, I'm glad I did. We weren't promoting it. And you're so full of it. All people have to do is go back to your library. You can easily see you are promoting it because all you do is promote gossip and garbage. And I got no respect for that whatsoever when I see it, the nonsense. And there's other channels that do it as well. Just happens to be that they're already so far gone that they don't care about listening to realism. They have their own opinion, and if it was up to them, they'd have a team loaded with Smurfs. So again, and I had to reply to this, but this would be disastrous in my opinion, and the only way I would go near this And I pray to God we don't, because I think he would mess up the locker room. You got to question a guy that's wanted out of two teams because he can't handle the heat that he's underperforming. Sorry, that's not the team's problem. That's a problem with your character. Sorry, you could be a nice guy, but you got a character problem. You got because you don't want to work. So, if that being said, I think the only way, absolutely only way, I mean, yeah, you can get away with it for 2 seasons if and only if you can unload a situation where you're unloading Josh Anderson that and get rid of that contract and possibly something else that matches that 8.7 that you would be taking in, which to me Gallagher, and then they would end up actually taking on a little more contract. So you'd probably have to throw in a draft pick or something else just to cover the difference in the money that they'd be taking on. But that's the only way you'd do it. And I don't know if I don't want to do it because I like Gallagher character wise. That's one thing I think he brings leadership and character to the team. The rest of it would be, yeah, okay, could do it. But um, although we will have to, it would be nice to unload two bad contracts for sure, especially with 2025 coming up. So I just wanted to counter that and thank God uh, it's Hughes and Gordon in charge because these clowns on some of these Habs podcasts, they want to be heard and I think they influence. And I pray to God that Hughes and Gordon continue to be as smart as they are because these clowns would have our team just in a disastrous situation. I mean, they don't learn from situations that we've gone through with Jonathan Drouin, just that dimension. So there's no learning. It's just, thank God. All I can say is thank God you're not running the team but it would also be nice if you could own up when you're lying, when you are promoting garbage. Admit it. Be man enough. But no, that's character too, right? And that's why I say I don't have respect for these particular channels when I see it. And it's a shame for some of their co-host or whatever because you get the odd co-host in their channel or whatever, and they're not so bad. But it's the particular guys running it, and they might have one or two. It depends on which channel I'm talking about here, because some of them got like three or four co-hosts, and then you might have one out of the three that are all right, and then the one with the two, the other guy could be good, and the main host is promoting garbage, so he gets dragged down with them. That's sad. So anyway, thank you for following. You've seen it here on Center Heights Productions. Remember that. Please hit the likes and subscribe. Muchly appreciate it. Tell your friends and family about it. This is where the channel where you come and get actual factual news, and you will get counters on garbage. I will counter it because it needs to be, because too many people fall for it that don't have the experience in hockey, that so they tend to feed off this. They may be too young, let's just say, something of that nature, so they're vulnerable viewers. And these type of channels take advantage of vulnerable viewers. So that's what I prefer to have in my channel: respectable and integrity, and educate Habs fans appropriately with factual information. Thank you for watching. We will catch you in the next one because I'm sure they'll put out some more garbage somewheres, and I'll probably have to just re-educate the fans. So thank you for watching. God bless. Catch you in the next episode.